Welcome back to The Legal Brief, the show where we crush the various legal myths and misinformation surrounding various areas of the gun world. I'm your host, Adam Kraut, and today we're talking about some big news out of the volunteer state, the Tennessee Hearing Protection Act.
Kinetic Development Group doesn't just make parts for the tactical or military guy. They make parts for everyone, whether you're a hunter, a competition shooter, or a standard supporter of the Second, they have something for you. Kinetic Development Group. When you get it, it clicks. To learn more, go to kineticdg.com.
Before we get started, for those of you wondering, I did not win the 76th seat at the NRA annual meeting. Despite our best efforts, we fell about 60 votes shy, but it sure wasn't for lack of effort or enthusiasm.
This is actually a question for the audience. Can I see a raise of hands? Who voted for Adam Kraut?
Look at that.
Yes.
Look at that.
That looks like victory.
In fact, the enthusiasm from those of you that I spoke to was very apparent. The good news, we were able to get about 800 more people to vote this year than last year, bringing the total number of votes at the annual meeting to over 2,000. And don't worry, I haven't given up on my quest to serve you. I'll be relaunching my website, adamkraut.com, shortly, so stay tuned for that to see how you can help. As some of you may have heard, Tennessee's governor signed a bill into law decriminalizing the manufacture and possession of silencers in the state. And for those of you scratching your head, silencers on a state level were technically illegal in Tennessee. Like a number of states, Tennessee's law provided that it was an affirmative defense to prosecution if a person had complied with the National Firearms Act. An affirmative defense is when the defendant admits guilt or wrongdoing, but introduces facts or explanation to justify his conduct. In other words, if you were charged with violating the old version of the law, and you were able to show that the silencer was registered in accordance with the NFA, you would have a defense against that prosecution. Which then begs the question, what is this law going to do, and how does federal law affect it? Senate Bill 921 was a fairly simple bill, amending only 2 sections of Tennessee law. The bill removed the term firearm silencer from the definition section of the code, and amended the prohibited weapons section to no longer include a silencer in any capacity. As such, with the stroke of a pen, Tennessee no longer classified silencers as prohibited weapons, nor restricts the possession of them. It's worth noting, though, that the law takes effect on July 1st, 2017, so for you eager beavers out there, I'd hold off on doing anything post-haste. While at first blush this seems like a giant step forward, and in many regards it is, what did the bill actually accomplish? As you may remember, federal law reigns supreme, which means the National Firearms Act controls. Essentially, we are looking at a situation that we saw play out in California and other states that slowly legalized marijuana. While at the state level certain conduct is no longer prohibited, it is still illegal at the federal level, or in this instance, requires compliance with the National Firearms Act. In essence, come July 1, 2017, anything that used to be unlawful in Tennessee with regards to the possession, transportation, manufacture, repair, or sale of silencers will no longer be a crime at the state level. However, that does not mean you can simply do whatever you want, as you would be subjecting yourself to the perils of violating federal law. While not involving Tennessee, last year a jury convicted 2 men from Kentucky of violating federal law by manufacturing and selling silencers, even though Kentucky had a similar law in place. Kentucky's law protected its citizens' Second Amendment rights by exempting them from federal gun control. And you can see how well that worked out. Spoiler alert, it didn't. And you may be asking, well, why did Tennessee even bother to pass the bill? There's a number of reasons, including those which involve states' rights and the 10th Amendment. For those of you that don't exactly recall all the amendments in the Bill of Rights, that's the one that says the powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively, or to the people. As we've seen in the context of marijuana laws, depending on the administration in office, there are times where the federal agencies are more inclined to enforce the prohibition against marijuana, and there are times where they are not. It is possible that we will see a similar trend with regard to firearms laws, passed by states which nullify federal laws. However, I certainly wouldn't want to be a test case for that. In short, it seems that the Tennessee HPA, at the very least, would remove any issues one may encounter within the state as far as the legal silencer possession at the state level. However, federal law controls, and as such, you better be in compliance with the NFA, assuming you don't want to be prosecuted. Hopefully that gives you a better understanding of the Tennessee Hearing Protection Act. If you guys like this episode, you know what to do. Hit that like button and share it around with your friends. Have a question you want answered on the show? Head on over to the Legal Brief section on theguncollective.com. Don't forget to like The Gun Collective on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Full30, Snapchat, and wherever else you can catch us on social media. And as always, thanks for watching.
The shirts worn in today's episode of The Legal Brief have been provided by Patriot Patch. Click the link in the description to learn more.